If you got just 1% better every day, you'd be 37 times better by the end of the year. But if you got 1% worse, you'd end up almost at zero. That's the power of compounding, not just in money, but in habits, skills, and success. Most people underestimate how small consistent actions lead to massive results over time. It's the same principles that turned Warren Buffett's investments and James Clear's habits into exponential growth. But most people don't understand that there is a moment when compounding suddenly explodes. And if you quit before that, you'll never see it. Okay, so let's start with what is compounding. Well, the easiest way to explain it is to actually show it. So let's say we have 100. And if we multiply this 100 by 1.1, which is going to be just 10% growth, it's going to be 110. Now, if we multiply 110 by 1.1%, it's going to equal to 121. If we do 121 times 10%, that's going to equal to 132.1. So the growth here was 10, put it into brackets. The growth here was 11, and the growth here was 12.1. And if we draw a graph over time, then it's going to go something like this. So it stays pretty small in the very beginning, but then as the time goes, the growth is exponential. So it's like geometrical progression or exponential growth. I'm sure you've heard it from mathematics. We can actually see this line a lot in nature. If we take a look at how, let's say, cells double, or a famous question which is, would you choose $1 million or 1 penny that's going to double for 30 days? And I think if you choose a penny that's going to double for 30 days, it's going to be more, because that's exponential. If you haven't seen this in live, then it's a little bit hard to understand it, but then once you see it, you start understanding why certain things happen. And there are so many schemes of how to get rich fast, but it doesn't work. What works is just starting early and waiting for that compound interest to work, waiting for that exponential growth to happen. Once again, it's not only with money, it's with anything, with skills, with happiness, with sport, with anything. That's how it works. So if we take a look at Warren Buffett's net worth, you can see that most of his growth started after he was 66, and that was exponential growth. So once again, take a look at this graph, a graph that's very similar. If we take a look at this graph, it's all following like slow, very slow in the very beginning, but then it just grows exponentially. Now, the uniqueness of compounding interest is that it does take time. And the problem with people is that we are pretty impatient. Nobody wants to wait like 50 years to have money. We want to have money now, as young as we are. And it's a bit of a problem as well, because people kind of expect, whenever they put effort, they expect this graph to be something like this. The more they put in, let's say they put 1 hour in and they get $20 back. I mean, that's how it works, right? But then if it worked like 3 hours, then people will get like $60. This is not a very pretty graph, but you get the idea. But with compounding, you just have to wait for a very, very long time. That's the hardest part with it. And oftentimes people give up. Let's say we'll call this 1 year. Let's say a person wanted to learn a new skill and he was putting a lot of hours and he was really trying, and he spent like 6 months on it. 6 months, halfway, so 6 months. You can see that this part, there's almost no growth. The growth will happen in the next 6 months. But people oftentimes give up because, once again, they expect this graph linear. But the compounding interest is not linear. That's the part that you need to really understand. So the question becomes, okay, what do we do about this? Well, if it comes to money, then we just need to start as soon as possible. Investing $100 every month into something, and then over 50 years, that's going to be just... When it comes to skills, just learn a little bit by a little bit. Every single day, just 1% improvement. 1% improvement, that doesn't take a lot of time. That takes like 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, depending on the skill that you are doing, but it doesn't take a lot of time. And that 1% improvement just sticking for 1 year, where it doesn't take a lot of your effort. Another issue people have is this like all or nothing mindset, which is kind of stupid, because you should focus on just one thing and then working on that thing until it becomes better, rather than trying to change all the aspects of your life just in one day. And then when you try to change 20 different things, first of all, that's going to be super stressful. Secondly, that's not going to work, and then you will not be able to become better in all the 20 things every single day. That's why it's better to focus on one thing, make that thing better, and then focus on the next thing, make the next thing better. It's not like jumping, doing 20 things at the same time. It's doing one thing at a time, becoming just a little bit better every single day. If you haven't read this book, I really recommend it, Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you open this book, basically when it comes to habits, let's take a look at the contents. You want to make sure you make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. That's in terms of building habits. That's in terms of like, okay, how do I stick with something for a year? Well, this is how you do it. And then if you want to get rid of the habit, you want to make sure it is not obvious, not attractive, it's hard, and it's not satisfying. Basically the opposite of that. And then he walks through a ton of examples throughout life on how to do things. One of my favorite things from this book and the biggest takeaway is this graph here. 1% better every day equals to 37 times better, and if you become worse by 1%, you'll be almost equal to 0. So if you want to become better, take a look at this book. If you have any specific questions, be sure to drop that below. Other than that, if you found this video valuable, there's a good chance that you will find this video valuable, so go ahead and click on it.